So when I was 14 and in middle school playing pickleball during lunch, I was playing with a bunch of kids and some girl went up to me after I got her out in pickleball. And she tried to find a way to insult me about my body, but couldn't really tell if I was skinny or fat because I was wearing a shirt that was way too big for me. And she called me, she's like, "You're so skinny." And I was overjoyed that she said that because for most of my life, I thought I was fat and just I don't want to say unattractive, but never really looked at by many girls my age. So I really grew up super self-conscious. I'm not here to trauma dump, but I kind of just want to say my story so some people listening to this can relate. But I was never really fat or skinny. Like I was pretty skinny. Like I couldn't lift much. I remember going to the gym for the first time in eighth grade, and I could barely like lift the Planet Fitness Smith machine bar. And I was super insecure about my appearance. Like I didn't even hold hands with a girl till I was 17, just because I thought if I wasn't 6 foot 6 inches, the saying that you couldn't talk to any girl 6 pack. And yeah, it was kind of sad growing up because I had this almost media propaganda I feel like most kids deal with now that you'll never be enough and that if you don't have a 6 pack or that you should even try talking to girls. And I even see it around friends my age. I'm 18 and I can see my friends like, dude, no girl will ever like me, bro, because they might be a bit chubby. But dude, most girls will like you if you'll just go up and talk to them and be yourself. And I feel like I'm realizing that now after for so long. I was just super insecure. Like I couldn't go a day without looking in the mirror and saying terrible things to myself as a 14, 15-year-old. Like it's just these things that I know so many dudes my age are suffering with, or my age back then are suffering with. And literally most of my friends will talk to me and like, we'll be a couple drinks down or whatever. Be saying like, yeah, bro, like no girl will ever talk to me. Like there's no point in even doing this. And it's almost like they've convinced their brain that they're not enough no matter what. And that they aren't enough to be loved. And I don't want to sound like this like those one of those fat millennials. Here I am judging. Jesus. No, but you know what I mean? One of those fat millennials that you see on IG Reels saying, "Oh, you gotta love yourself." But to an extent, taking that advice will help you out a lot in life, especially in the short term, where I feel like so many people care so much about the long term, where they neglect their short term and they go on about life saying, "Oh, I'll just do this better, I'll just do this better." But they never actually get a chance to say good things about themselves. And most of the time, if you do want to think about that long-term version, you got to be nicer to your short-term version because the person making that long-term future is your short-term person. And that's why focusing on being grateful and being content with who you are while also improving is so important. And I even struggle with this, being content while also improving at the same time. Because to improve, you have to be hypercritical of yourself. But at the same time, if you want your short-term self to be happy, you also have to be extremely kind to yourself. So, in a way, you got to find that certain mix that will work for you. And that's what I wish I kind of knew when I was 14, getting fucking picked on in pickleball. And looking back on like that whole pickleball incident when I was 14, it's just obvious that she just screams that she's insecure because people just project. Whenever they insult you, or if you're a little chubby and someone comes up to you and says you're fat, that person's just 10 times more insecure than you. Like in looking back, she was probably super insecure about her body image, so she was just projecting it. And it's sad to see because it's a cycle of hurt. Someone hates themselves and then they hurt another person because of it, and then that person goes through pain just because of that one moment. And it's really hard to see. And if it's a very selfless thing to be nice to yourself, which so many people don't get. So many people think, oh, if I'm super hard on myself and all this, it'll help others, which it does the complete opposite. Like when you're super hard on yourself, eventually it's going to spread. And people, in my opinion, I'm not going to get all supernatural here, but people can understand and feel different energy. Like growing up, I'm not going to trauma up or anything, but my mom was very like weight conscious or whatever. And it definitely affected me. Like I could see that. Yeah, like looking back, it was probably because my mom was so weight conscious. I would always see her doing her weird diets growing up, where I thought subconsciously I needed that, which what I actually needed was to be nice to myself. I kind of want to go into the use of GLP-1s and how pushed they are. So many kids these days are like talking about peptides. Oh, peptide this, peptide that. And the use of peptides at a younger age is so like promoted. Like you'll be scrolling on TikTok and you'll just see this influencer who you've trusted for 6 months start posting about peptides and how great they are. And every single one of these motherfuckers has a link in their bio selling their own peptides. So it's literally just a bunch of people trying to profit off these younger kids, and it's fucking sad. Like it's literally awful. And they're saying like, oh, if you're not this weight, then don't even try to talk to women. And it's just this message that gets shoved down your throat at such a young age. And like if you're 12, you're gonna believe that. Everything on your TikTok for you page is telling you if you don't have a six pack, then it's over for you, bro. Or if you're too skinny, it's over for you, bro. Like no matter what, it's pretty much over for you at 12 from these dudes' perspective. And it's super sad. So I'm not gonna really go down woman because I'm not a woman. I don't know how a woman's body image feels, but at least for men, it just seems like awful. You get this hypergamy. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's the whole theory where 20% of the men get 80% of the woman, and the rest of like the 80% of the men can't do anything. I'll put like a chart on screen of the most famous picture, and it's just shoved down your throat at such a young age. Sure, it's true to an extent, but not as much as these people will tell you. It's just sad to see because most of the people who keep saying this won't even go and talk to women because they won't give it a chance. They'll just totally shut off the idea in their mind. They'll be like, "Oh, no one will look at me. I got to go to the gym. I got to do all this." Which for me, that led down a cycle. Obviously, I went to the gym. I got stronger. I kind of fell down that pipeline. You get stronger, but you're still insecure as hell. So no matter what, you're always gonna want that more and more and more. You'd be a little leaner. You'd be a little stronger. A little muscle there. A little muscle there, and you just kind of get focused on this path. And even when I was like 16, 15, I had girls that liked me, but I wouldn't even give it a chance because I thought, oh, no, they don't actually like me. I just got to keep going. I got to keep going and building and building. And at what point do you enjoy what you've built? You know what I mean? Like as a kid, I feel like it's so hard to understand like that you actually have value and that you could actually, I don't want to say pull girls, but actually get into relationships and kind of be looked at with value, I want to say. So I was definitely a little repetitive here, but I just really wanted to get that into your guys' head that you got to be nicer to your present self, and being nicer to your present self will only help your future self more than being mean. People tend to think if they're just mean to themselves that it'll eventually kick them into gear, where in my personal experience, being kind to myself have gotten me a lot farther. Being kind to my present self and being kind to my past self and being kind to my future self in different ways, whatever that means to you, will greatly benefit your future self and present self more than being harsh. And that's kind of what I wanted my 14-year old self to know. Sorry, a little stutter there. Very deep topic to me. But yeah, I didn't want to get too emotional here, but that's kind of what I wanted to say. So I could help any 14-year-old me that's listening.